Hello dear student, welcome in this online session of 8th standard. I hope you are doing well at your home. And this is online session lecture of 8th standard as I said you, and we are going to focus on a lesson which we already studied in the previous online sessions lectures, which was in the part, and I made you to understand the first part. Now as you can see on the frame of your screen that this is the second chapter, this is the second part of the same chapter, lesson number 10, the great stone face second. Now in this lesson we are going to learn about what happened in the furthermore story. It means in the previous story, let me get a recap for you. Ernest was a small boy and he used to sit with his mom and also used to view the mountain nearby his village, which was looking somehow like a face of a man. So according to the prophecy, his mom said, one day a man will come and he will bring so much wealth and good luck. Everybody will be happy by his coming. And Ernest further was started to make waiting of that man. He was always in the wait of that man, who was actually described as the prophecy of the village and the mother. If we talk about the theory, then Ernest was also thinking that there must be a person who will be coming back to his village. His face must be resembling to the mountain, as the story was describing a mountain which was also somehow faced like a human face. And Ernest furthermore accepted him as his teacher, and he was learning so much from him. Always he used to sit at his doorstep and he was watching towards that stone face. So now the story will be going more further, and now in the second part, Ernest has grown up. So let's check it out, what is going to happen in the story, second part, the stone face. So the great stone face second is the second and the final part of the story, which tells us about the ending of the story also as well as the climax too. Now it answers all the questions whether Ernest finds a great face stone look-alike or not. Here you can see that Ernest lives in his valley only, and he is a very simple-hearted man. It means a kind person. And latterly, Ernest always helps to the other people and work for everyone's betterment. Ernest is now popular all over the world for his wise and general decisions about the thoughts. So this is the basic concept of the Ernest and his character in the second part, and he is grown up. As the Ernest has grown up, a new poet emerges in him, and also a new poet emerges in that same area. He is a native of the valley, only hear about the Ernest, and he returns to the valley, meets the Ernest. Now this new poet is meeting the Ernest. On the other hand, Ernest is in the hope that poet might be like Luca of the stone face. It means he is thinking that a man who is going to meet me, he must be looking like the stone face. So that's a kind of thing. On his meeting, Ernest and the poet declares to be the great stone face look-alike, and literally everyone agrees also. So the second part is look-alike, from which you can understand that Ernest was waiting for a man, and he was thinking that the man will be looking same as like the stone face, a look-alike whom Ernest was waiting for. We learned that Ernest is still living in his native valley, okay, and however he is not an old man. Nonetheless, we can say that Ernest has a very kind and a simple heart. He tries to work for the betterment of everyone, as I made you understand. And latterly, in addition, Ernest has also become very wise and humble. Wise and humble defines his all the good nature. His wisdom has now spread all over the world, and people from all over the world come to meet Ernest. See, my dear student, when your nature is very good, when you're wise, you're humble, you're not aggressive, people will quite be easily attracting towards you. They'll also try to seek knowledge from you, as well as you can be also learning lots of things from them. This is actually a nature's rule. What you give, that you get. So his wisdom has now spread all over the world, and people from all over the world has come to meet him. And also Ernest grows older as he hears of a new poet. The poet is also of the native valley, stays in the different cities, and now the poet is also interested to meet Ernest. So this is the story which is going in the continuity of this lesson. See, it's a very general thing, my dear student, Okay, whenever we are becoming very matured, whenever we are becoming very humble, we are becoming very easy, and we are becoming very acceptable person, obviously the world is giving us respect, and furthermore we are also known as the world guru. So therefore this was the quality, and other also qualities were there in the Ernest, as the story is making us to be derived out. Now, for kind information, let me define you. The story has been taken from a real concept of the text and context, where this textbook has been delivering you all the basic facts related to the Ernest and the stone-faced mountain. Let's move further. Now, when the poet comes, say here generally, when the poet is coming in the Ernest life, or it is his home, he knows about the Ernest, okay, and then he decides to visit him. He visits Ernest and notices that he is reading a book and glancing lovingly every now then to the mountain. Glancing every now to the mountain means he is looking like continuously to the mountain while he is reading the book. Means his half of the concentration is towards the mountain and half of the concentration is over the textbook. So this is the story where Ernest is trying to make himself attached once again with the mountain. And latterly, lovingly with every now and then, the mountain. The poet says that the night of the Ernest place, and he is trying to make him comfortable and stay there only. It means that the poet is asking him, "Oh dear wise man, will you not give refuge to a traveling poet?" It means, will you not give a company tonight to stay to traveling poet? And the Ernest says that, of course you can stay here, you can stay with me. Giving a stay to any person is a very common thing, but you should be careful whenever you give any kind of stay to any person. Obviously, from the strangers, you must be careful, because strangers can be making you put in the danger. So that's the kind of story is going on here. Honest nature manages to impress the poet, and he watches him speak about neighbors every evening. Means Ernest was like a public speaker too. He used to go and speak. He used to give motivational speeches and all. So he decided to accompany Ernest and listen to his talks. Obviously, a person so wise, so kind, so delighted, if you are meeting to that person, obviously you are thinking to meet. So this is the condition where we can say, on staying with the Ernest, the poet realizes that he is a very noble and a kind man. Noble and a kind man generates and displays his generosity. So this is the basic thing which the story is making you to understand. He is all that his own poetry can never be. And the only he takes about a look of great stone face was same looking like Ernest only. It means, which is when he realized something, he consequently observes also. Now if we talk about the story, consequently he believes that it's indeed Ernest who is one of the resemblance about the great stone face. The poet observes and feels that the person who is with him and named as Ernest is actually a lookalike of the mountain. It means that Ernest was thinking that one day the man will be coming who will be doing all the kinds of greatness of the village, and he will be distributing the lots of amount of knowledge, wisdom, and the money will be looking like the stone face. But Ernest was not knowing that his face was he was only the person who was looking same as like the stone face. So that's a condition where the new poet has recognized him. Moving further here, similarly everyone else agrees with this poet. Okay, everyone agrees with the poet. However, this does not please Ernest all, and he still does not believe that he is the only one who has been looking like the stone face all his life. So this is the condition. So he refuses to accept this truth. Thus he still keeps hoping, waiting for the person to return who will be resembles of the great stone face. So dear student, the conclusion of the story is that the story concludes by telling us the man who was in the search of the lookalike turned out to be himself, but he has always wished for it to become someone else. So he does not believe in it, and he waits for the right lookalike of the arrival. So this is the condition where I can make you understand, my dear student. Ernest was the only person. See here, I'll display the story. Ernest was the only person who was actually committed as the prophecy, Bhavishyavani. Okay, no any person was going to come, but Ernest was that person who did a great job. He became famous and he also made people to aware about the knowledge, and he was only the person who was looking same as the stone face. The story is playing some kinds of tricks with the mind. If you understand the story, it's very good enough. If you don't understand, obviously you must go and read the story, and you can also replay this lecture twice a time, thrice a time, or many times. So that's how this lecture is going to be end and the last chapter of this syllabus. I hope you enjoyed this whole session of your online lectures. Till then, you can take care and keep safe yourself, your neighbors. Also, stay away from the strangers. Be healthy, stay healthy. Get all the revisions. Take care. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.